Hey family, welcome back. We're so glad to have you. We've been exploring a very cool subject. I'm here today with my really good friend Dante. What's going on, dude?
Nothing much. How about yourself?
Doing good, man. I can't complain. So today we're gonna kind of piggyback off of what we've been talking about with other people and what's really been being explored at our clothing company. And what we've been exploring is transformation. I'll dive right in. What do you think has been the part of transformation that's really been easy to feel or or to see tangibly in your life?
Um, that's a tough one. I think for me, transformation. I mean, honestly, if it's transformation of it's not just going to because I didn't really go to church very often, even though I've been a Christian since I was like 18, but I stopped going to church like a couple years after that. So it wasn't until like I hit my mid 30s and I started going to church again. But I wouldn't even say that was a I think the transformation really was when I actually started tithing, like consistently. When I said, you know what, I'm gonna do this,
Yeah.
and I'm not doing this out of obligation to the church because they really didn't need the money. It was more, do I trust God with what I've got with the 10%? What can He do with my 90%? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, what's going to happen there? And it was difficult at first, and then I started getting into it, and I was like, okay, I'm good. And I think what I realized is that you don't transform in the way like we think of, or what I think of, like the Transformers, right? That cartoon where like you're either a truck or you're like the robot that's gonna fight,
Yeah.
or you're whatever, the jet pilot, the jet fighter, or the robot. It was little bits, so I transformed to someone who tides often, or consistently, and then it became, hey, I just got like a check that was larger than I was expecting. Well, I got all these plans for this check. Oh shoot, I actually have to give 10% of this check. Like, oh man, I was not planning on that. And all of a sudden, it became a hard thing where it's like, I don't know. I mean, does he really want that? Maybe I can, like, if I gave this much to my friends, maybe that's working out in the same way. And then I talked to my pastor and he said, no, like, please, bring it to my storehouses and everything. Bring it to my church. And so I actually don't even know if I quoted that correctly, but
You remind me of a story,
Mhm.
and as you're talking about this, you reminded me of this story, this parable. Actually, it happens in the Bible that this rich young ruler comes to Jesus,
Mhm.
and he says, "What do I do for eternal life?" Right? And it's a very simplistic question. Not really, how do I get transformed, as much as what do I do to make it to heaven? And so Jesus says, well, I'll tell you simply then. You're going to ask me a simple question, I'll give you a simple answer. Follow the commandments. Well, in that simplicity, the man realizes, well, I've done all that. And he says it to Jesus. He says, well, I did all that. What now? And what you were talking about right now is the what now, is what happens afterwards. How do I go from a person who goes to church all the time, but still lives in this place where they haven't handed everything to the Father, right?
Mhm.
And so Jesus says, sell everything you have and come follow me. Now, the explanation for that has always been that this man had a problem with greed or something like that. But I can see that the stories are almost parallel,
Mhm.
okay? This man couldn't have had a problem with greed because he says that he follows all the commandments, and one of the commandments is "Thou shalt not steal."
Mhm.
And the commandments are more of a they're more of how to live life correctly.
Right.
And now, if he's saying that he followed them all,
Mhm.
I don't think money was an issue, but there was something in him that had not yet hadn't seen himself as a son,
Mhm.
and so Jesus says, "Hey, sell everything you have." that's going to show you what you lack, because Jesus points out to him that he lacked one thing. And so I love the fact that you're talking about that transition for you was at that point where you said, okay, I need to go deeper. I need to find more, because I've done a lot of church stuff, but I want to go deeper.
Right. It's like, I guess the analogy I would use is, alcoholics can't walk into a room or walk into a bar and not feel in some way triggered, and they have to, if they're recovering alcoholics, it's step one day at a time, right? And so they do what they got to do to make sure that they just can't go and have like a regular drink for fear of relapsing. And I guess I don't have the issue with the drinks, right? I can go anywhere and like, all right, I don't feel like drinking, I don't have to. But like, there are certain spots in our lives where, hey, I conquered it one time, but I'm not done. So he could have given all of his money and then followed Jesus and then gotten hit with something else again. And like, oh wait, I don't want to give that up. I still don't want to give up that money again. Like, I just got more money. I don't want to give that up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or I got like this, I don't want to give that up. And I think that's what happened to me, is that I go so far, but that's not the end of the the transformation's continual.
Yeah.
And I'm not, I don't want to say tested, but I'm always going to run into it where I can always go back. I can always take a step back.
Yeah.
If I'm not really cognizant of my own thoughts and my own feelings of lack.
Yeah. We've always said here, we believe that, the journey to come to Jesus is really, really hard. And it's one of those that, when you come to Jesus, you obtain salvation. But to go from saved or orphan mentality into son, it's really, really hard. That transformation is what we are trying to, it's what the Father is trying to place on us. This, this understanding that we belong to Him. That, hey, you can give it all away because I'll give it right back to you. There's nothing you lack. There's nothing that I won't give you, right? And so it's a constant journey. Instead, the journey that we've been on, that I've been on, was I have to stay saved. I have to stay saved all the time. So I'm doing good, I'm doing bad. I'm doing good, I'm doing bad. And so I've been focused on this wheel of doing good, doing bad. But instead, I should have been focused on, James talks about don't be this double-minded man, right? Don't go back and forth, right? So when you see that, the ability to go back into this orphan mentality, you go, no, I can't go back there.
Right.
I have to learn how to live as a son. And so, yeah, man, that's an amazing journey. And so we're going to dive deeper into this in our next episode. And so hopefully you guys can join us.
Thanks, Dave.